Okay. Good evening. Welcome. Let a few people come in. I hope we are all well. I'm going to be moving my camera around a little bit tonight, so I've got to get that light out of my eyes. Hang on, let's go there. Okay, try that. Okay, so I'm going to do the same as we do normally. I've got a Facebook, no I haven't, I've got a YouTube video running at the same time as I have the, I'm going to go and turn that light off. Bear with me. There you go. Right, I've got YouTube running at the same time as I've got an Instagram live video running. So for those that are watching this on YouTube later, that's why you can see the Instagram video running. Anyone that, but there'll be a giveaway today, but if you're watching this after the show, unfortunately you cannot win the prize. And the giveaway will be something to do with the news stories that I'm going to be talking about today as well. So anyway, I hope you're well. It's the 3rd of November. It's a Tuesday evening. Don't normally do this on a Tuesday evening, but I changed things around this week because we were suddenly obviously told, well not suddenly, I guess we sort of really did expect it if we're being honest, but in the UK, if you're watching this from the UK, we were informed, hello Percussion Works, we were informed that we were going into another sort of lockdown, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so I decided yesterday I would go and see my elderly parents because I might not get to see them again before Christmas. So, and the reason I'm saying that is because it's also important that instead of everybody rushing out there and doing all their last minute Christmas shopping and whatever else is going on in the streets, you know, it's maybe just as important to go and see anybody that you think needs to be visited and be seen. So, this is going to be a different week this week. I'm not doing any live chats this week. I purposely wasn't going to do any. And the reason for that is because obviously, as you know, if it's today's the 3rd of November, and there's a lot going on around the world this week. So I thought that I should give my American friends and guests chance to get on with what was going on in America at the moment, which is the election. I didn't want to disturb them before today, and then I didn't want to disturb them afterwards in case it doesn't go the way they want it to go. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to take a week away. I'd always planned to take a week off these live chats. And so tonight is the live drum show. I'm going to do a little bit of playing. We're going to do a little bit of talking. I've got lots of news stories for you. Like I said, we're going to do a giveaway. I've had a couple of topics suggested to me to talk about today. But I also want to ask you, if there's anything that you want to talk about, anything that you want me to chat about, anything, industry, drummers, what I do, what I don't do, why I should do things, why I don't do things, whatever you want me to talk about, then please send them in. Just chuck them in that question mark box at the bottom. You know how it works, it's down on the bottom there. So I'm going to get things started, and then, like I said, if you've got anything that you want me to talk about, then like I said, put them in the question mark box. I have had a couple of suggestions for topics. So, we get started. So the first thing I want to talk about, like I said, I've got a live YouTube camera as well, which is why I'm looking over there as well, is Young Drum of the Year. So I had lots and lots of messages for two reasons regarding Young Drum of the Year. I have put this statement out a couple of times, but some people have missed it, and I think some people have got a little bit confused. So I decided back in September that we would not be doing Young Drum of the Year this year, which would have been our 20th, I think, this year, purely because of the uncertainty about the final. So the final would have been in the first Sunday in February, but we would have opened the entries in October. There was just too much uncertainty for me to open the doors, start getting people to start sending in their entries, etc., to eliminate people, get it all the way down to a 40, to a 10, and then the final being, like I said, the first Sunday of February, to find that we wouldn't be able to do it. That was number one. The second reason was I just didn't think it was fair on Ebenezer, who was the winner of 2000 last year, 2000 or this year, 2020, because he hasn't had a chance this year to represent the brand at all, represent at any of the drum shows. He would normally be playing at the Day of Percussion in London, which didn't happen this year. He would have been playing at the Manchester Drum Show, the UK Drum Show, which again didn't happen this year, plus any tours I put on, which didn't happen. So I decided to give it a miss this year so that he could represent the brand next year, and also we could then be more guaranteed that we'll actually, hopefully, touch wood, be able to do it in a venue, the final in a venue in February 2022. Wow, I'm to think that far ahead. What I'm going to do this year as well, I'm going to slightly change it, is it's normally for 16 and under. So you'd have to still be 16 on February, the first Sunday of February. I can't think, it's normally about the second or third. I can't think that far ahead for 22. What I decided to do this year was, because there's some people that would work towards it, and this would have been the last year they entered, that I'm going to open it up to for 1 year only to 17 and under. So that explains Young Drum of the Year. There was a little bit of confusion because there's another thing that's been going around sort of via social media that I've known about for quite a while, and I was asked to get involved in, which I decided not to, because it just didn't fit what I wanted to do. And people were getting confused with the two events. So the other one was the global drum competition. Got to get that right. Just Google it and you'll find it. Young Drum of the Year for start always will be, will always, all the time I'm involved, is a free event to enter. You don't pay to enter. I don't think you should have to pay to enter that event, and it doesn't. So that's, I just want to make that out, put that out there straight away. I'm not saying there's anything against anything else that's going on, but don't get confused with that. And Young Drum of the Year. Right, Young Drum of the Year, out the way. So I'm going to give you some news. Like I said, if there's any particular things that you want to ask me today about that, or anything that you want to talk about, like I said, put them in the question mark box at the bottom and we'll get round to it. You have to stay with me today because, like I said, the prize today is going to be relevant to the drum news that I'm going to start giving out through the show. And I do apologise for those that are watching this afterwards, but you don't, you can't enter. You have to be watching it when we do the competition at the end of the show today. So I've got a book today because there's so much going on. So we're going to start off with Drumhead magazine, or Champion. If anyone watched last week's show with the editor of Drumhead magazine, who also owns Champion Studios, Jonathan Mover, also was the drummer for Alice Cooper and Joe Satriano, etc., etc. If you didn't, go back and check that one out, and you'll get a little bit more news about what I'm going to tell you. But he's launching some live stream events. He's got a few lined up, but he's announced 2 of them at the moment. The first one is going to happen on this Sunday, November the 7th. I think if you're watching in the UK, it's 10 o'clock at night, but go and check it. But it's the Steve Gadd Band, so that's going to be pretty good. The studio is an incredible facility. I've filmed there, I've done some work there out in LA, so I know that it's set up for this. They were doing events like this long before we had this pandemic. So it's multi-cameraed, great studio sound. So go over to either Drumhead magazine or Champion and check out more information about that. I think the website is champion.com, but go onto their socials and you can find out. But that's Steve Gadd, the Steve Gadd Band, and it's going to be this Saturday, November the 7th. So that's going to be really worth watching. If you didn't see it, then I think you can still catch up with this one. Steve White did a documentary with Style Council this weekend, which was shown on Sky Arts, a documentary about Style Council. And like I said, if you didn't get a chance to see it, you can still catch up on that on Sky Arts, which is now, again, I think is a free view. And again, wherever you're watching this around the world, you can watch most of those channels on some kind of digital line, so you can just go online and find that. So that's the next one I want to talk about. And while we're on the subject of Steve White, Yamaha UK have just launched a play-along competition, which looks really cool actually. Steve White has put up a play along, and you can become the drummer. So you play along with the track. You enter it onto the uk.yamaha.com, and you can win a host of prizes, including a one-to-one lesson with Steve. I think there's an EAD, which is a great Yamaha unit. I've got one over here on my side here that I use for teaching, and I think there's a snare drum as well. So again, you can either go to uk.yamaha.com for more information about that, or go on to Steve White's social media pages, or go on to Yamaha UK's social media pages for information about that. And that's running up till December. So again, we're in lockdown. We're going to have a bit of time on our hands. Again, like I said, wherever you are around the world, most of us seem to be in the same situation. I think Asia maybe is out of it, but the rest of us are. But anyway, we've got a little bit more time on our hands, so go and check that out. I want also, Rhythm Magazine's making a return this month. They haven't had an issue out for a few months now, but the new one's coming out this month. It's a tribute to Neil Peart, who we lost a couple of months ago now. So anyway, Rhythm Magazine, and again, either follow them on social media on here, on Instagram or Twitter, or go to their website and you can find more about that and get a subscription on that. Like I said, one of my questions later on in the show is going to be relevant to my news stories that I'm starting with today. The great UK drummer Phil Gould, and for those younger members that don't know about Phil Gould, you must check out Phil Gould. Phil Gould was the original and one of the founder members of Level 42. Amazing musician. Again, I did an interview with him a few months ago, and you can find them on my Instagram live chats. But his new album is out on November the 13th. And I know he's been working really hard on that, and it's going to be great, because everything Phil does is he puts 110% into that. So you either check his social media posts out, or go over to philgouldmusic.com, and then you can subscribe and you can get information about when the album comes out. So that's philgouldmusic.com, and Phil Gould is GOULD music.com. Or like I said, go onto his socials and you can check that one out. I told you there's a lot of drum news today, didn't I? Next one, we've got PASIC. So I'm sure most of you know about PASIC, but PASIC is an amazing event that takes place once a year. Every 3 out of 4 is done in Indianapolis, which is where their rhythm centre is, the museum. I've been fortunate enough to be to quite a few PASICs over the year. I've been to Indianapolis. It's an amazing event, but obviously, like many things that are happening, it couldn't take place this year, so they're going online. And it's going to be November the 13th and 14th. There's an incredible lineup. So over the 2 days, Gavin Harrison's performing, Marco Minimum's performing, Brian Fraser Moore's performing. The list goes on and on and on. But go over to PASIC.org for more information on that, or again, just follow them on the socials and you'll find that. But PASIC is PASIC.org. So it's a fee, you register, and then you can watch the whole event over the weekend, which is quite cool if you think about it. We're all getting used to now sitting at home in the comfort of our own house, watching these events online. You don't have to go out, you don't have to get wet, don't have to get cold if you live in England, and more importantly, if you live anywhere but Indianapolis, you don't have to travel. You can sit at home and watch it. The same as, like I said, with the Drumhead magazine. That's been taking place out in LA. We don't have to fly all the way there. We can just watch it here. I also want to tell you about my next Zoom masterclass. So I've been doing some Zoom masterclasses, and some of you here, I know, are part of it, and you've come on and joined them, and hopefully they're quite interesting. I do them from my studio. I only ever limited them to 15 places, so there's 15 places. And this one I will announce later tonight, but it's going to be on the 17th of November. Tuesday the 17th of November. We start at 8 o'clock in the UK. I always have a guest. I don't announce the guest. The guest is a surprise. Last one we did, Ash Sowen came on as a guest. But we always have a topic as well, and this topic is going to be about time and groove. So if you're interested in that, DM me. It's £15. It's the 17th of November, limited numbers. It's normally hopefully pretty good. I think, like I said, there's a few people on this Instagram that I can see that have done a few of these with me now. I'm going to do I'm going to do a few other things with this one this month as well. But it's not a participation, so a lot of people get concerned that they don't want to get involved and sit and play. So it's not a participation. It's a sit back, relax, watch, hopefully learn. There's a bit of playing. Ollie has just come up here on my Instagram. Like I said, it means nothing to you on YouTube to say it's nice. Ollie's he's come along and done a few. So anyway, so that's going to be on the 17th of November, and I'm going to announce that later tonight. So, and the subject's going to be time and groove. I've already got my guests sorted out, but I never announce the guests. The guests are surprises. And while we're talking about the Zoom masterclasses, obviously there's also the drum hangs that are still taking place, which are also very good. So again, if you want to check those out, I mean, there's been some really, really good stuff that's come out of this. So that's all the news at the moment. Like I said, there's no chat shows this week purely because of what's going on around the world. I was always planning to not have a chat show. To be honest, I wasn't going to do a chat show this week. I planned it because of, like I said, the elections in America and everything else. And then when in the UK they announced that we were going to go into lockdown, I thought, oh, maybe I should get a chat show, get a guest in just for the chat show. But I thought, no, I'm going to stick to it. We're all going to be in the same boat for the next 4, 5 or 6, whatever it's going to be around the world. So I've got plenty of guests lined up. So I just thought this week we give it a rest. So that's what we're going to do. So remember the news. Hopefully if you're still here at the end, then I can tell you when we do the question, you'll be able to. So JJ Wallace is in the house. Young Drum of the Year winner 2 years ago. I think that's right. I'm getting confused now. JJ is so long. So like I said, if there's anything you want to talk about, any questions, put them in the question mark box, and I will talk about them. I want to, a couple of topics that have been sent over that I wanted to talk about tonight or get started. And like I said, I'm quite happy for you to jump them in the question mark box. I'll read them out aloud. So if you're watching on YouTube, I have got a lesson for you today, which is a little bit more prepared than the last one. But one of the topics, I thought I was going to tie this topic into what's happening at the moment. So, I think that one of the things we've got to remember, look, me like many people, all of a sudden, when we got the next stage that we were going to go into lockdown, was angry, maybe a little bit, not necessarily angry, but a little bit disappointed. Was like, oh no, not again. You know, I have a simple philosophy. I'm not going to worry about things that I have no control over. I'm not saying I agree, disagree, or anything. You know, the point is I can't control what we've been asked to do. But what I can control is what I'm going to get out of it. And so a few people have sent me in a few topics, and one of them was about practice. And so I thought, right, well, I'm going to relate today's topic about the situation that we're all in. And I've discussed this before on a previous show about I'm going to use this time. This is time we're never ever going to get back. You know, in a year's time, hopefully, or 2 years' time, definitely, we're going to be looking back on this time and go, do you remember when we did this? I wish I did this. I wish I did that. Now's the chance. Okay, now's the chance to do it. So I'm now looking at this and going, right, okay, I've got another 4 weeks where I've been told I can't do anything. I've got to behave myself, etc., and follow the rules. And as I discussed on a previous show, for me, I've decided at the end of that window, I'm going to be running 13 miles comfortably, or run a 13-mile run comfortably, which I've done before, but I haven't done it for a while. So I'm going to get back into that. That's my goal. I'm also practicing, and there's so much great stuff out there at the moment that I've been playing along to and practicing. There's the Ultimate Big Band play-alongs, which are really good, which a UK drummer called Darren Williams and a friend of mine, Lawrence Cottle, great bass player, has put out there. Really nice stuff. I've downloaded those, and I've been working through that stuff. And I've just been playing around with some ideas. So when I was asked to talk about the topic practice, how, what, why, I thought, well, I'll incorporate that into this because this is your chance now. Now, like I said, there is so many great people out there doing some really, really good stuff. You've got guys like Tommy Igo that's doing his daily pad work. There's so much good stuff out there. The problem with practice is it's also very confusing. I think when I was younger, it was probably a little bit easier because we weren't distracted by YouTube or what other things were going on. I mean, we pretty much I had my drum teacher. I would go and see my drum teacher. My drum teacher would tell me, this is what you've got to work on. I trusted my drum teacher enough for me to go away, work hard on that, get it done for a week, go back, get some more information, okay? I mean, you need to have that kind of mentality. Set yourself goals, small term and long term goals. There's so much on YouTube that we get caught up. We look on YouTube and we go, we want to do that, or Instagram, we want to do that, or oh, that person's doing this, or that person's doing that, and all of a sudden we then start questioning ourselves that we're doing the right stuff. We end up down the wrong way of a street, that we're working on stuff maybe we didn't want to work on in the first place. So now we've got this time, like I said, it doesn't matter where you are around the world, if you've got the facilities to be able to play, and when I say have you got the facilities, I'm not talking about necessarily a drum kit. I'm talking about a chair, your legs. If you can't play on a drum kit, don't look for excuses. Again, this is a thing that we as a generation have been so fortunate because we've got more opportunities to play. When I talk to my old drum teachers, and again I've talked about it quite often, I've got a picture up here. I was fortunate enough to study with Kenny Clare, one of the most amazing jazz drummers in the world. I was fortunate. But Kenny used to say he practiced on the saddle of his bike. These are one of the greats. So you can adapt. We can always adapt. You don't always need your drum kit. Again, I've talked about this before. But I used to, when I was trying to really understand the click and subdivisions, I used to put a metronome on and go for a run and listen to the subdivisions or the click. When I was trying to understand reading properly and I was studying, really looking at New Breed, I would sit and read it as a newspaper. That's still forms of practice. Okay, so going back to the point, now use this time. You can now sit down and go, right, okay, if you are one of these people, but even if you're not and you want to adapt this time into a practice time, if you're one of these people that is going to have a little bit more free time on your hands, and like I said, even if you haven't, you find that free time within your day and you start thinking, right, I'm going to practice, and you get right out of routine and you write out a goal. So right now you could say, right, I'm going to write out a goal for 4 weeks and I'm going to start on such and such a day, and at the end of the 4 weeks I want to be here. I'm not going to go off, I'm not going to suddenly look at a YouTube page and see what Marco Minimum suddenly put up, or Thomas Lane suddenly put up, or Ash Sowens put up, etc, etc, etc. This is what I want to do and that's where I'm going. So there's your goal. Now don't forget, practice. Don't kid yourself. Practice comes in 2 forms and it's very, very important. Disciplined practice, undisciplined practice, and both of them are as important. Now what does that mean? Disciplined practice is practice things you can't do. Goes back to my running. At the moment I'm going out and I can run very comfortably a 6 mile. Okay, I want to run for 13 miles. If I try to go out there and try and get 13 miles, it's not going to happen. I've got to build up to it. Okay, but that's disciplined practice. If I keep running the same route and I keep running my 6 miles every single day, my body's getting used to it, that's undisciplined. So disciplined practice is practice things you can't do. Undisciplined practice, just as important. I've still got to put those miles in at the beginning. I've still got to run those 6 miles to feel comfortable. Same with drumming. Play along with things that you can do. So maybe you can either treat yourself. You could say, right, let's just say, you don't have to be doing this, but let's just say you're going to practice 1 hour. Let's just say, we're using that as a number. Okay, and you're going to go, right, for 40 minutes of that 1 hour, I'm going to practice disciplined practice. Things I can't practice. But the last 20 minutes, I'm going to just play. I'm going to play the drums. You could do whatever you want to do. You could put a little song sheet together. You could, you put something on your iPod and just go, right, I want to play along to this. Okay, or you could just play. Whatever you want to do, make sure you've got it organised before you start. Now, what happens here is the more disciplined practice you do, let's just say we're practicing, let's go back to, just play the paradiddle. Let's just argument say, I know you can all play a paradiddle, but let's just say you're learning a paradiddle. You're going to sit there for weeks practicing the paradiddle, and you really can't get your head around it. But the more you play that ends up going over into your undisciplined practice, because now you can play it. It's now part of your vocabulary and you're adding it to your playing. Okay? So, discipline and undisciplined practice. Set your goals. Like I said, any questions, please put them in the question mark box. And it doesn't have to be about this. It can be anything you want to do. Set yourself some goals. Again, it's very important that if you're going to set a goal, you make it achievable. If you're going to say to yourself, right, I'm going to get up every morning and then I'm going to practice 5 hours a day for 7 days a week, then that's probably not an achievable goal. Okay, you've got to understand what you can do. If you say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to practice 20 minutes, or I'm going to practice 20 minutes when I come home from work, or 20 minutes when I come home from school, or in my lunch break I'm going to practice 20 minutes. Make sure that you've got it organised. You know what you're going to practice. You wouldn't suddenly go to the shops and just suddenly go, I have no idea what I'm doing here. You go in with some kind of a plan. Same thing with your practice. Maybe sit down, get a notebook, phone, whatever it is, and go, right, this is what I want to achieve, this is what I want to do. And so you sit down and you achieve that practice. Okay. Timing, I personally like a routine. I find I work better like that, but everybody's different. For me, I like a routine. So I like to practice at a particular time. I like to do my exercise, my running. I like to do first thing in the morning. That's just what I like to do. I find if I haven't got out the door for my run by 11 o'clock in the morning, I'm probably going to be, other things are going to take over. So the same with your practice. Now, I'm not saying that's the same for everybody, but a lot of people, it's better to work to a routine. And don't say, right, I'm going to practice 7 days a week, and if you can't, practice 5, and don't think because you haven't managed to do that, you failed, okay? But set yourself goals. And then treat yourself. I always think that's a really important thing. Now, when I say treat yourself, I don't mean, well, you can go and buy yourself a new drum kit or a set of cymbals. In fact, the industry needs you to buy any drum equipment at the moment. All the shops are all struggling, and so is the industry. But it could be anything. It could be, right, I'm going to get to 3 weeks and then I'm going to play a particular piece of music, or I'm going to take a couple of days off, or I'm going to, whatever it might be. Set yourself a goal and a target, okay? For me, going back to my analogy with running, my target, my goal and my achievement, if you like, will be just getting to the 13 miles. Then I can go, right, okay, great, I've done that. So hopefully that helps. If there's any questions, like I said, chuck them in the question mark box. Now, today's lesson, like I said, I've got to come back. I've got a question for you. In fact, today's prize, hang on, that's not the one, this is the one. Today's prize, I've got a limited edition, and when I say limited edition, I've only got one, but somebody sent me 2. One I've never used, obviously, because I'm going to give it away, and one I've still got. A drummer's mask. And so I'm going to give away, I'll take that off because you can't hear me, I'm going to give away the other one. So, like I said, there's going to be a question for that, but you have to be watching it live. Sorry to YouTube. So, today's lesson. Right, I've just got to adapt the camera for Instagram. On my setup, as you can see, I'm in my studio, but I thought I'd do it on my little practice kit setup. I've got like a little practice kit setup that I can make silent. I'm going to just change the camera. So I do apologise for a second, but I want you all to be able to see the drum kit. You can also see my signed picture of Buddy Rich up on the wall there. And this was a lesson that I was shown many, many years ago by the great Kenny Clout. and it was about making the quarter note sing. Okay, sorry you can't see me on my Instagram. So it's about making the quarter note sing. So first of all, I've got the click set up. The click at the moment is set up at 60 beats per minute, but the 60 are half beats, which means the click is going to be every other beat. But I want the click on the 2 and the 4. So listen. 2, 2, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. So hopefully you can hear that. Now all you're going to do, it's very difficult for me to talk and play and internalise that click. All you're going to do is play quarter notes on the right cymbal, but I want you to be as musical as you possibly can. What do I mean by that? Well, here's the first example. Now just watch my stick. I'm opening up my hands so I can get the most note out of the cymbal, and I'm just going to go. So I'm trying to think about getting long notes. Obviously, I want it in time. So by sweeping my stick, I'm trying to get nice, long, short notes. Now, if I go up and down, I'm getting more staccato notes and also out of time. So I'm going to change it around. I've opened up my hands. Currently the stick is almost sitting in here. Okay, so I'm... Now let me think about accenting the 2 and the 4. Now I'm going to think about accenting the 1 and the 3. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to think about a whole note and not that, not. I don't want that because we're musicians. Okay, now finally, so there's nothing else going on except the right cymbal, and I could find by playing it different ways, I could make it feel different. Now if I want to swing it, I'm trying to go good, 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 good. Now if I put an accent on the 2 and the 4, 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2. Now I'm going to change it to an accent on the 1 and 3. And then finally, I'm going to change it to the and mix it up. This week's lesson. Okay, so I hope that made sense. Let me get my camera back. Let me get sorted out. Right. So just quarter notes. One of the best lessons I ever learned. One of the most eye-opening lessons about trying to make quarter notes musically. Okay, so right. Looks like there's no questions tonight, so that's fine. I'm going to ask you a question to win a mask. Okay, so I talked about at the top end of this show, I talked about a drummer whose band is going to be doing a live stream concert on November the 7th for Drumhead Magazine and Champion Studios. So I want you to tell me, the first person to tell me, like I said, you can only do this if you're in now and live, tell me who that drummer was. And as we go, I will give you more clues for those people that joined in later. So if you don't know who the drummer was because you missed the talk at the top of it, you may know as it goes. And like I said, I do apologise. Instagram. You could use Jim Chapin's book for that lesson. Yeah, that's totally true. Somebody just come in and said you could use Jim Chapin's book for that lesson. You can use the Jim Chapin's books for that lesson, but he doesn't talk about the quarter notes. We're talking about quarter notes. We're making a quarter note swing with no independence going on between the other limbs. It's just the quarter note on the ride cymbal. And it could be leading with the right and leading with the left. Anyone that's watched any of my lessons on Instagram will see that I'm a real big thing about trying to get the left hand working. So anyway, so the drummer that is doing a live Instagram on the 7th of November for Drumhead Magazine, if you know the answer, then pop in and you can win one of these drum masks. Here's my one over here, look. And here's the second one. So just so you know, there is two. So if you want to win one of those masks, if you could tell me who that drummer was. If, as we go, you didn't see the beginning, I'll give you a few more clues about that drummer. So hopefully then you will maybe jump in and know who that was. So the first person to tell me who that drummer is wins the prize. He's going to be performing with his band. He's got his own band. He's also a session drummer and a touring artist. Those that have followed me on Instagram live chats, currently I haven't done a live chat with him currently. I'm going to keep going until somebody jumps in. He's an American drummer. He's one of our greats. Oh, dee dee doo dee. Oh, see, I can't keep going. You come on, someone must get in here soon. So we're dealing with one of our great drummers. He's playing with his band, a live stream event on November the 7th. Looks like we need another clue, do we? Okay, so let me give you another clue. Let me give you some artists that he's worked with. And I'm going to go thank you, Charlotte. Oh, well, you're still waiting on your sticks. So look, now someone else is, they're all coming in now, look. Okay, so we've got a winner. Charlotte got in first. And in fact, Charlotte is actually won a pair of sticks a few weeks ago. Well, you got the answer right anyway. So anyway, it's Steve Gadd. So you've won a mask. So obviously, like I said, you're waiting on your sticks. The sticks didn't turn up in the post, so she's gonna. Anyway, so yes, you've won them. So Charlotte's won the prize for today. Anyway, that's it. I hope you're all well. I hope this show's been good for you. Like I said, it's on YouTube as well as Instagram Live. If you're watching this on YouTube, go over to my Instagram, MikeDolbear.com, and we're doing live chats, lessons, etc., etc. The live chats normally take place on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. No live chats this week, but they will start again next week. Like I said, tonight is an important night, probably for all of us around the world, but more importantly at the moment for America. And so I decided not to have any of my American guests on tonight. I didn't think they'd be in any fit state. Just a little reminder, I'll announce it later tonight, but I'm going to be doing my next Zoom Masterclass Tuesday the 17th of November. There's only going to be 15 places. Like I said, there will be a guest involved, but I never announced a guest. And the topic on this one will be about time and groove. So that's it. That's it for tonight. I leave the same way as I leave every show. Let's try and do what we're told, even if we don't agree with it or whatever. Don't forget we are protecting others. Okay, hopefully we're trying to protect people. We're trying to help our NHS. And like I said, it's not whether we believe it, whether we think it's right or wrong that we should be doing what we're doing. whether I should be working but they're not working, etc., etc. We can carry on like this all the time. Trust me, anyone in the entertainment business will tell you we've been affected really hardly, so it's tough to deal with, but let's deal with it. Let's get through so we can get these drum shows up and running. We can all meet in person. Second of all, be nice to other people. Let's look after other people, check in with people, make sure they're okay. You know, you never know how good that can be for anyone. It's one of the reasons I'm trying to do these live chats. You know where I am. You can DM me, send me messages, etc., etc. But like I said, check in with other people. Be nice to people. Again, you never know how damaging maybe something you would say on social media could do. So think about what you're doing. Be nice, but look after yourselves. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Have fun, and I'll see you next week. Nothing else this week. See you next week. Bye.